G'day folks, well, it's been a couple of weeks. I've had a nice break from the car and it's been good. I really needed it. I've done so much work to it over the last 3-4 months. It was a bit tiring and it was just nice to just sort of walk away even from the channel for a little bit and have a bit of a break and gather my strength back a bit, and it's been good for me, and I feel revitalised and energised again, so it's great. I took the car yesterday, guys, to the track, and it was a club day, so it was fantastic. The weather was brilliant. It was really nice weather. Had a few down there. Actually, it was a quiet day. It really wasn't that many down there, but there was a couple of nice, some really nice old school cars, and I met a few people down there, and God, I love it. I really do. I went out 3 times with the car, guys. I did sort of 2 races, and at the start, they call it observation laps, which is just, we go around and we just check out the track and behind a pace car, and yeah, got to feel it out to start with, which was nice. It's going well. What do I say? Is it going well? Yes. Have I got problems? Yes. I had a potential nasty problem yesterday, guys, which was my fault. It's always my fault. Everything I do to the bloody car, if something goes wrong, it's my fault. But I'll cop that one on the chin, but I was very, very lucky with it. It actually could have been a real disaster. I'll show you in a minute, guys, and I'll get the camera turned around and I'll show you. The tune seems to be good to date so far. Not 100% into the throttle at the minute. I really only got in the secondaries very gingerly. Still lacking in confidence. It looks good on the air fuel, like on that lambda reading. When I sort of get into it, it's around the mid-high 7, so like a 7.5, 7.8 range. But as soon as you trim the throttle, it'll run leaner, and that's just because it's not wide open throttle. And so I just haven't got the nerve to really wrap it on too hard at the minute. So I'm having a bit of a shift of mindset at the minute. I'm seriously contemplating on taking it to a dyno, guys, because I really need to sort this out once and for all and just see where it is under wide open throttle once we creep up on it. And I think the only way is to just do it in a controlled environment. I'm finding it a little bit too hard on the track, and I just don't want to hurt it unnecessarily. So that's sort of where I'm going to go. I think in the next few weeks, month, maybe take it. I've actually changed my mind on the dyno, of another dyno dude. So he's just a little bit lower key, sort of a smaller setup. So I might go to him. I've seen him tune it. Well, I've seen on his Facebook page he tunes some old school muscle cars. So I think I might get in contact with him and take it down, and we'll see. We'll see. I've got a nasty oil leak, guys, in the engine. When I first got it going, the first time I took it down to Baskerville, it was a tiny little leak. I just had a few drops, come out of it, and I haven't had a real good look at it, but my gut's telling me that it's coming from the rear main seal. All indications are looking like that. But anyway, yesterday when I came back, I would have said it's leaked probably 1/4 of a cup. If say 100 mil, 80 to 100 mil of oil, all over, like from the whole day, and it's getting on the header pipes a little bit, and it's just a bloody nuisance. It really is. So that being said, I've really got to try and chase where it's coming from, and I had this other potential disaster yesterday, guys. What happened was the drain pipe coming out of the drain box So I shifted my scavenge pump, guys. I'll show you in a sec, but I'll just explain what I did. I shifted it from where I had it in the cab, and I mounted it under the floor on the car, on the other side here. And I used that, you know, that white, well, this stuff here, I'll show you. Was smaller, it's 1/2 inch, well this is 3/4 inch. It's that sort of stuff there. It's really hard when it's cold, but when it heats up, it goes real floppy. And that's my bag, that one. What happened was, we ended up getting a horrible bloody kink in it. Oh, like before the pump. The pump's sucking from the turbo box, or the drain box, and developed a kink right near the pump, and it couldn't get rid of the oil out of the turbo drain box. And what was happening, it was filling up, and I've got that big vent pipe running out into the boot, or the trunk, as you like to call it, and it was spewing oil, building up, because it couldn't drain back to the engine, and I noticed I was getting oil fluctuations in oil pressure. When I did a bit of cornering, I picked it up really early. Because I was always looking at the gauges and keeping an eye on everything. I was half sort of dabbling in a bit of racing, which I wasn't really going hard, guys, but at the same time keeping an eye on the air fuels, the temperature, oil pressure. So I was sort of busy in the cockpit there for a bit, and then I noticed the oil pressure dropping, just a fraction coming around some of the corners. And I sort of wasn't going hard, but I did pull the foot out of it a bit, and the lowest reading at about 4,000 revs was 30 pound of oil pressure. And so I sort of backed right off, and I came back in after a lap, and I didn't realise what bloody happened. I thought, oh, what the hell, my sump's not working, or something's going on, you know, as you do, you panic and freak out. And a bloke came around, he said, geez, there's some oil underneath it, mate. He was in a little white Tirana. God, that was a nice car. And he said, anyway, I popped the boot, and there was oil everywhere. It was a bloody mess. And what had happened was, she was just draining oil straight out of the back of the turbo, out through the vent pipe, onto the boot, and it made a hell of a mess. And I was very lucky I didn't run this drive oil. I was so lucky. I'm just so thankful I picked it up. I'm really kicking myself. I need a good smack around the ears on this one, because it was, when I did it, I thought, it was a tight bend, you know, when I joined the pipe to the pump. Anyway, spilt milk, guys. I'm not going to cry over it. Engine seems fine. When I came back in again, I slowed right down. The oil pressure came right back up again, and yeah, so I don't have a lot of oil in at the minute. So I'm at a bit of a spot with it at the moment. So I just need to, like I said, let the dust settle. Like, that's easy fix, that pipe for the scav pump. That's no issue there. But I have got a little bit of oil in the charge pipe. It was blowing a little bit of smoke out of it. Obviously, the poor thing, you know, you just can't fill up oil in turbos and expect them to run, you know, successfully. They're just going to bleed out on the turbine and plus on the compressor side as well. So that was interesting. That was it could have been a real disaster, that. Goodness me, I'm glad I picked it up. I was very, very thankful and relieved at the same time. Now, I had another issue, guys. I hope you can sort of help me out here. Like, when you get on this thing, it's unbelievable. It's just incredible, the power. Like the E85, it spools up so quick and all that, you know, it's great. But when you sort of, and it'll be on the vid too, so it'll be on my second race, and I'll pop them both up, I think, but at least this one I'll pop up. And you'll notice it when I go past this little yellow Tirana coming out of the hairpin. He had a 1JZ twin turbo bloody 6-cylinder in it. I think he said he was running 15 pound of boost. Anyway, I went up beside him, sort of just past him. I was only, like I said, half throttle, wasn't really into it that hard, about 4 or 5 pounds of boost. And as soon as I sort of trimmed the throttle, well, not even like I said, half throttle, I felt it starting to pop and pop a little bit and bang, you know, like on the engine. But I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't going hard. It was only sort of half throttle, and I'm wondering if that's a little bit of unburnt fuel going through and sort of just igniting out through the exhaust, or whether it's detonation or, you know, like knock, because that's what it sounded like when I was, that time I had knocked, guys, in that other video where I was down at Simmons when I was running the 98 pump fuel. But I was on the throttle fairly hard, whereas this time around I wasn't really, it was about half throttle, you know, just barely into it really. And I could hear it sort of popping a bit, you know, out the exhaust. So I'm not sure whether that was maybe just a little bit rich on sort of that half sort of throttle, or whether it was, I don't know, maybe it was a little bit of light knock in there. I don't really know at this stage. So throw your comments up, guys, see if you can sort of help me out there. But I am going to go to the dyno. I think my plan now, or at the minute, is to fix that up, clean it up, not worry about the oil leak just for now, and try and get this thing sort of tuned up on the dyno. And once I can sort of establish and get it right, hopefully, fingers crossed, get it sorted in the tune side, and I may pull the engine back out if I can't, if it's not an easy fix, this oil leak, and check it over. And if I do that, I'll pull the sump off it. Obviously, you know, if it is a rear main, I've got to pull that apart and have a look. Then I'll check my bearings as well, you know, just to be sure, and put it all back together. So that's what I'm sort of thinking at the minute, guys. But I'd like to hopefully get it tuned before I sort of pull the engine, if I've got to do it. You know, obviously I won't take it back to the track until I do get it sorted, like the tune wires and the oil fixed. But yeah, that's where it is. I'll show you the the kink in the line, guys. Oh dear, oh dear. You see there, guys? A bit of oil in the charge pipe. That was expected, especially when you're filling up the drain box. See, I've got it routed in under the floor there. And what was happening, guys, it was filling up on the breather, and it was just blowing back through, and I'll show you, into the boot. Oh, there was oil everywhere, guys. God, it was a mess. I reckon I had 3 or 4 litres of oil in. You can still see it. I've cleaned a bit of it up, but got the worst of it. It was unreal. It was a bloody mess. It was unbelievable. Still dripping out underneath. I was very, very lucky though. God, you know, we're only humans. We do make mistakes. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And sometimes I do some stupid things. There we go. Look at that. Horrible kink there. So the poor little pump couldn't pick up much, or couldn't drain the oil, suck the oil out of the box and send it to the engine. So it was filling up the drain box and just spewing out into the boot, draining out my oil. God, I was lucky. Goodness me. Oh dear, oh dear. I won't be using that crap again, but I'll use that red stuff. I've got more of it. And I'll make sure there's a nice loop there before I go into the pump. Yes, that could have been a very expensive lesson, that one. Yes, so that's where we are at the minute, guys. So, but as far as, look, I tell you, she really goes well. It hangs on well. Those tyres are unreal. I'm really happy with the whole, like the rest of the car. It's and that carb hat, so far, it's really incredible. Like coming out of the hairpin now, guys, it just gets on so quick, and I've got to get into top gear so quickly. There's no point staying in second. Just get it into top, and it's like it's like the diff feels like it's a shorter diff, like it's gone up, like it from a 3.7 to a, you know, a 4.1 or something. It just feels like it's really short in the diff now because of the torque level. It's unbelievable, but it's so smooth and easy when the delivery comes on. Yeah, it's incredible. All right, folks. Well, I'll I don't know where to go from here at the minute. I'll clean it up, and I'm going to do a little oil change on it as well. I'll get it going again. Keep an eye on that oil pressure, and if the oil pressure looks really good, and I'll try and track this oil leak down. I'll show you guys that too, and see where we go with that. And in the next day or two, couple of days, give me a couple of days, I'll have another vid up, and I'll see if I can track that oil leak down. I'll pop some oil in it, new filter and that, and I'll get it going. And we'll just keep an eye on the oil pressure, make sure it's, you know, it's up there where it's supposed to be, and we'll go from there. And I'll try and book in a dyno time in the next 2 to 3 weeks if the engine's up to a little bit of dyno work. But if it's not and we don't have oil pressure and I'm not happy with it, I'll pull it out. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to risk it, guys. I've put too much hard work and effort into this just to chance it. So we'll go from there. All right, well, just give me some feedback, guys, on what you think about the popping and banging side of it. I mean, the air fuels to me looks good. My gut's telling me it's a little bit, when you do trim the throttle, because it's still blowing in that air fairly well from the turbo, it's maybe a little bit rich on sort of part throttle, and it's sort of letting it out through the exhaust. I don't know. It just sort of makes sense to me, that bit. It didn't feel like any sort of knock or anything like that. And it ran incredibly cool too. 180 all day. Amazing fuel, it really is. All right, guys, I'll pop one up soon. I'm back on deck, so I'll pop one up soon, guys. All right. Catch you later.